I had no control to say no. I didn't tell anyone to take my clothes off and do what they did to me.
Jada says the teenage boy hosting the gathering offered her a drink of punch. She believes he spiked it with a drug. She says she passed out and had no clue what had happened until disturbing tweets, pictures, and videos started to appear on social media. Jada says she was raped that night. We blurred the images, but kids have been sharing them over their cell phones.
And we told you Jada's story yesterday, and you guys have responded on our Facebook page. I want to bring back my colleague Yasmin Vasugian. Yasmin covered it yesterday, and a lot of sympathy for this brave girl, and she is brave for stepping up and telling her story.
Absolutely. You know, Micah, a lot of people are thanking Jada for coming out, and just as many are praying for her. And you guys also have some legal questions, so we're taking your questions and your comments as the segment continues. But I'm joined with Lonnie Coombs, prosecutor. She is here to answer some of your questions as much as we can, quite honestly, because I understand this is a very complicated story. So thank you for joining us, Lonnie. Okay, up first, Tina CARNEY says all the people who download or even looked at her pics should be charged with child porn. Is that even possible? I mean, this thing was tweeted, I think, over 3,000 plus times. Right. Is it possible for you to be prosecuted for that?
Yeah, that's two questions. Is it theoretically, yes, you can be charged anytime you take into possession child pornography and distribute it. That's two different crimes. But to actually do it when it's been done thousands of times, it's too hard to do. I mean, law enforcement can't get out there and catch all of those people.
Yeah, how do you even decipher who tweeted what, who sent out what?
Right, and whose computer and who did it. So it's very difficult to do.
Okay, up next, PAOLO TORRES says, it's a complicated situation. What grounds does she have to pursue legal action? This is a very good question, because first and foremost, she didn't go to the hospital to get tested for any DNA evidence after the sexual assault occurred. So what does she have, really?
Well, we still have the child pornography, you know, from taking the pictures to possessing to distributing. Those are all three separate crimes. You can get jail time for those. You can get counseling. You can have to pay a fine. So there are some punishments for that. But for the rape charge, in this case, based on the facts we have so far, it's an extremely difficult prosecution. In fact, we didn't even know that sex occurred, apparently, until there was some, you know, sort of vague tweet or message put out by one of the guys involved in this, as sort of alluding to that it was consensual sex. She didn't know that she'd had sex that night.
So HuffPost actually found some tweets that supposedly the alleged assaulter actually tweeted, but they've since been taken down. His account has since been taken down. And he said, how's it rape? You had 2 months to say something, but you ain't say, I won't say the bad word, S-H-I-T, till you get exposed. So things like that, can they identify who this guy is now? And can they use that against him?
Yeah, they could if they could say this is definitely him, but even still it's vague because what is he really saying? I mean, he could argue that it meant something totally different. But let's remember, just because she didn't speak up for 2 months doesn't make it not a rape if it was against her consent.
Absolutely. And I want you to take your lawyer hat off for 1 second. Bobbie Clark Morel BLALACK said, that's a very complicated name, and he's getting a lot of flack on Facebook, understandably, for this. He said, where was this girl's parents when all this was going on? Parents need to keep a better eye on their children, especially the underage. Well, I mean, you're a parent. You have 5 children.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
Well, look, parents need to be involved more than ever with their kids as far as who they're spending their time with, their social media. You know, going to these parties, there need to be parents there. There needs to be some type of supervision. But kids do go to these parties, and kids need to be told simple things like, don't drink a drink unless you actually poured it yourself. Simple things like that can really save a lot of heartache in the long run.
All right, one more Facebook comment. Melvin Grupp Jr. said, how many times I hear the same story. Underage at a party, drinking, lied to parents, didn't think it was going to happen to her, so she paid the price.
Oh, no. And that's the kind of attitude that we don't need out there. You know, you don't ever deserve to be raped, ever, 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 period.
Right. Lonnie Coombs, thank you so much for adding some color to this situation. It's a really difficult situation. I think we can all commend that 16-year-old girl for coming out.
Yes.
Commend Jada for coming out.